Choosing how to live one's life within one's inherent capacity and means in alignment with one's personal values and preferences is another way to define independence. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Today we'll look at the technicality of food production and the outstanding creative and intellectual achievement that poetry brings. So don't you go anywhere, you won't want to miss this. Good day, I'm Theodore Henry and this is your JIS News for Friday, June 17, 2022. A state of public emergency, SOE, has been declared for the entire parish of St. Catherine. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement this morning during a media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister. He says the alarming incidents occurring in the parish triggered the enforcement of the SOE.
The government of Jamaica has to act. The government of Jamaica cannot sit by and see innocent Jamaicans going about their business on their way to work or from the market and having to be scurrying for their lives. The government has to act.
Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson revealed that the high level of violence being experienced in St. Catherine is linked to conflict involving 12 active gangs operating in the parish. Since the start of the year, 82 persons in the parish have been arrested for illegal firearm and ammunition, or both. The security forces have also seized 59 illegal guns, a 28% increase compared to 2021. Several gang members have been prosecuted, and the security forces have been leading community engagement programs across the parish.
Despite these efforts, as at June 15, the St. Catherine North Division recorded 70 murders and 51 shootings, representing a 52% and 76% increase respectively when compared to the similar period in 2021. Meanwhile, in the St. Catherine South Division, 58 murders were recorded over the period, as was the case last year, and 53 shootings recorded compared to 43 last year, an increase of 23%.
The police commissioner says the state of emergency will allow the security forces to optimize resources to bring the situation under control. In the meantime, the Get Every Illegal Gun campaign has been bearing fruit. So far, 368 illegal guns have been seized, an 8% increase over last year. In June alone, 48 illegal guns have been taken off the streets. 7,449 rounds of ammunition have also been confiscated. At the same time, the Commissioner of Police says significant emphasis has been placed on incorporating technology into investigations, as well as building the force's institutional capacity. He is urging St. Catherine residents to be patient and brace for disruption and delays as the security forces carry out the state of emergency.
The public can assist by complying with the security officers at checkpoints, adhering to the curfew guidelines, and notifying the JCF of any breaches of professional conduct by members. For persons residing outside of St. Catherine, please advise us if you see persons turning up in your communities that you may have concerns about. The public can contact us, as always, by calling the JCF tip line at 811, Police Emergency at 119, or Crime Stop at 311.
In other news, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has formally instructed the National Disaster Committee to direct its attention to the readiness of shelters, drains, evacuation routes, and drought management as priority areas of concern for the hurricane season. The committee is also directed to enhance public education to mitigate risks and prepare for disasters. Mr. Holness gave the directive on Wednesday during a meeting of the National Disaster Risk Management Council.
The National Works Agency and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development are to continue the process of cleaning the country's priority drain infrastructure ahead of the peak hurricane season, with priority to be given to those areas that are especially prone to flooding.
The Ian Fleming International Airport yesterday welcomed its first international commercial flight when an Inter-Caribbean Airways 30-seat airplane arrived from the Turks and Caicos Islands. The regional airline is the first of several carriers that have announced they will begin using the airport commercially. American Airlines and QCAS Aero are also scheduled to begin flights to the facility later this year. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says this development indicates a positive sign for intra-regional travel while expanding opportunities to boost tourism investment in St. Mary.
Because what it does is to put together the idea of connectivity in a material way. It is how we as a region are going to be able to connect with each other and to be able to interface in a positive way that brings economic value.
The flight is to be operated once monthly, connecting 6,000 Jamaicans living in the Turks and Caicos and elsewhere to Boscobel, with the expectation to transition to once-weekly flights. And finally, Jamaicans in the diaspora will be eligible for the National Identification Card to be issued with the rollout of the National Identification System, NIDS. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, gave the assurance during this week's Jamaica 60 Diaspora Conference. He also assured the participants that the data collected under the NIDS will be safeguarded by the latest technology with oversight and regulation to ensure compliance and protection of data use.
By law, we will have an inspectorate that will ensure that our National Identification Registration Authority is complying with the legislation. And that's an independent body that will report to Parliament in the form of the ECJ. But additionally, the National Identification System is under the Data Protection Act.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is introducing a new campaign tagged Grow Smart, Eat Smart as part of the National Food Security Thrust. The campaign aims to address the gaps and promote greater collaboration and efficiency in the sector. It's just one of the ministry's missions this fiscal year. Let's take a look.
I am very proud of the work of the farmers last year. Madam Speaker, production over domestic crops increased significantly from 697,679 tons in 2020 to 770,456 tons in 2021. That's reflecting a growth, Madam Speaker, of 10.4% in that period during a pandemic.
To further ensure food security, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has developed a strategy to advance the continuous output of food production.
Grow Smart, Eat Smart, which builds on existing policies and programs of the ministry with a major thrust to drive us to eat more wholesome and nutritious foods. The campaign, Madam Speaker, will be launched jointly with the Ministry of Health. The Grow Smart, Eat Smart campaign will be launched jointly with the Ministry of Health and Wellness around the issues relating to nutrition.
Also, under the Grow Smart, Eat Smart theme is the Planting with a Purpose initiative.
Areas of bauxite lands that will not be mined are going to be used now to grow orchard crops as part of our food security initiative. We're going to focus on expanding our priority crops. We're going to focus our attention on land preparation. We're going to focus our attention on soil fertility so that small, medium, and large farmers will have the opportunity to advance their operations alike.
In the 2022-2023 financial year, the ministry will be establishing more partnerships with other arms of government.
We're focusing on driving the linkage with health updating the current food and nutrition security policy to boost consumption of nutritious local foods.
The ministry will also be driving agriculture in primary and secondary schools at a cost of $15 million through the supply of vegetable garden packages.
We will bind together with education, revamping the school gardens initiatives and providing inputs to our school feeding programs, while launching also, Madam Speaker, the hydroponics pilot in high schools.
And as a joint initiative with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, a Farm in Schools program is being proposed.
This initiative will complement the efforts of the school feeding program. Additionally, it will see the government adopting a national farm in school policy aimed at teaching students the dynamics of agriculture and fisheries and promoting nutritious eating from an early age.
To further secure crop development, Jamaica will pursue trade and investments with other countries and local companies. Among the areas of focus is corn development.
Guyana has confirmed its interest in intensifying bilateral cooperation with Jamaica.
There will also be the establishment of the wheat flour substitution program,
with support from the government of Cuba to target breadfruit and cassava to create gluten-free flour as a healthy alternative to wheat. And we will be advancing and expanding on the agri-parks across Jamaica.
From this advancement, the ministry aims to see an increase in mangoes, ackee, breadfruit, and avocados, as well as other crops for export. And to enhance farm and household cash flow, the ministry will again partner with the Food Agriculture Organization, FAO, to reduce post-harvest losses and extend produce shelf life.
And in this country, one of the greatest things holding us back in agriculture is our waste. This project, as I said, will be funded by the FAO, the tune of $38 million.
Another great challenge for agriculture is predatory larceny or farm theft. Beginning in September of this year, all cattle are required to be identified with ear tags and corresponding passport. A new app has also been launched to shape support and programs.
A RADA mobile application, an automated biometric identification system.
Research and development is a critical link to food security in Jamaica, and as such, there will be a rehabilitation of select facilities across 5 research stations. Phase 2 of the rehabilitation and development of the ministry's research centers is set to commence at a cost of $5.4 billion.
Research is going to allow for us to define the genetic improvements, to define the innovation, to define the soil fertility, the seeds, so that when we put soil in seed, we're not just scattering, but we're being precise in knowing what kind of seed must go in what kind of soil for us to have the maximum yield.
And to reduce the price of ingredients and cut production costs, local feed will be used.
Our Bodles Research Station has established 42 acres of Mombasa grass. This grass will be used to make hay and silage and sell to small farmers at cost.
In addition to that, farmers will learn about the proper use of composting from the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA.
We'll be using local materials because it has been proven to promote higher yields of agricultural crops and also healthier soil structure.
The livestock sector had its challenges last year but has grown in production.
Chicken meat production rebounded from a decline in 2020, and production moved from a little under 124,000 kilograms to moving towards 125,000 kilograms in 2021.
RADA is being restructured to offer better support to farmers. As part of that, farmers are to start receiving their new identification cards within 5 days. RADA will also launch a mobile app.
We'll be launching our mobile application with RADA to be used by farmers and the public to provide valuable digital information. And I want to commit to my colleagues and I want to commit to this country that we are going to do everything we can to make sure the restructuring of RADA is not just a phrase on paper. the last year, the fisheries sector achieved a 20% increase in fisheries production, with marine capture fisheries increasing.
To help keep the sector vibrant, the ministry, through the National Fisheries Authority, aims to support the livelihood of over 200,000 fisherfolk while contributing 6% to agricultural GDP through the exportation from the fisheries industry. Building on the foundation already set, while establishing a strong, sustainable, and resilient food secure country. In agriculture and fisheries, the mission is to grow smart and eat smart.
The Integrated Community Development Project that's being implemented by JSIF has been facilitating interventions to manage waste, train teachers, and provide grants to persons within economically vulnerable communities. Let's look at some of the recent changes.
A place to call home, blooming with opportunities for growth and progress. The Integrated Community Development Project ICDP, implemented by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund JSIF and funded by a loan made available by the World Bank, has laid the foundation and has put in the work to create this environment in selected economically vulnerable and socially volatile communities in Jamaica.
We've targeted 18 communities through the ICDP, and we believe that we've done a significant transformation in these communities. We engage the community-based organization. They become registered as a legal entity. They sign financing agreements to implement the projects. It allows communities and the residents to see that their leaders can be accountable, their leaders can be effective, and their leaders have the capacity to build their own future.
The ICDP has played a major role in facilitating the cleanup and beautification of community communal spaces.
Solid waste management was prioritized by the residents in the communities as one of those areas that need to be addressed in order to get true transformation of the communities. We have seen significant improvements in the cleanliness of the communities and sustainable disposal of waste, including burning and dumping in the gullies, has decreased significantly.
Working as an environmental warden, we pick up the garbage, we store it where we're supposed to put it, and we talk to the residents in the community, said, you must not throw the rubbish on the road. You just put them in one bag and put them at the drum that JSIF provided.
The Safe Passages, Safe Routes to School initiative seeks to improve public safety by providing safe passage to approximately 5,500 student commuters who travel daily along specific routes.
When we came into the communities, we saw a number of issues. The students were walking in the street, they were competing with different cars, there were a number of accidents along the route, and so we definitely knew that we needed to do an intervention here.
It was really difficult because when cars were passing, we have to be walking over the bushes.
For the Yorktown project, approximately 450 meters of guardrails were installed, approximately 450 meters of sidewalk was actually constructed. We also had road safety signs installed along the way, pedestrian crossings. We also have murals. We also did a bus stop.
We can walk safely, the railings protect us from the cars.
The ICDP has strengthened the capacity of schools to deliver quality education and support services of the highest quality.
We made sure that we were able to provide different kinds of manipulative learning aids, books, textbooks, 3D equipment. We partnered with the Ministry of Education, particularly the core curriculum unit, to ensure that the teachers received the requisite training that they needed.
It was very good, very enlightening, and I was able to bring across that training to the subject areas that I teach.
It has helped us so much in the classroom. We have been able to practically demonstrate using the manipulatives that we have gotten from JSIF.
A lot of our achievements, whether for literacy, numeracy, or the whole holistic development, as well as the ambience of our school, is because of JSIF.
The ICDP also provided much-needed support to small business operators facing economic challenges through its Enterprise Development Grants.
The Enterprise Development Grant component saw funding being channeled to 170 micro-enterprises across 7 communities. And these enterprises benefited from equipment and supplies. They also got business development training.
I received a stitch and serge, and I received a straight stitch, and I received a cutter. It changed my life that I can do my things on time. And I can employ more people that can make you earn more.
The story of ICDP is a story of transformation, not only in terms of the physical environment, but also some of the non-visible things like the transformation of the people and how they collaborate to produce and to contribute towards their own development.
JZIP is an organization where come to help poor people. You are so good to us, JZIP. We love you, JZIP.
Jamaican poems capture the spontaneity of the expressions we often feel, the joys, the sorrows, and even our philosophy of life. Let's explore how one poet is being honored for the sharing of her literary artistry.
In the afternoon, you landed here at El Dorado. For yellow engenders gold and fires the brain. Had I known, I would have brewed you up some yellow fever grass and arsenic. But we were peaceful then. Childlike in the yellow dawn of our innocence. So in exchange for a string of islands and 2 continents, you gave us a string of beads and some hawk's bells. Words crafted by Jamaica's Poet Laureate for the period 2021 to 2024, Olive Sr., who last year was presented with the Instrument of Investiture at King's House.
The Poet Laureate of Jamaica program is a signature program of the National Library of Jamaica. And since its post-independence revival, the program has seen the investiture of Professor Mervyn Morris, OM, as Poet Laureate for the 3-year period 2014 to 2017, and Ms. Lorna Goodison, CD, for the 3-year period 2017 to 2020. Today's event celebrates the incomparable Miss Olive Sr.
My heartfelt congratulations to the distinguished Poet Laureate, Miss Olive Sr., who has for generations been a beacon of light for Jamaica, translating to readers across the globe the national cultural essence through her ever-expanding canon of acclaimed work. As an academic, a poet, historian, and a cultural activist, Ms. Senior has etched her name, but more so, all our names and identities, into the tapestry that is Jamaican cultural knowledge.
Borrowed images, willed or skin pale, muffled or laughter, let out our hems, dekinked our hair, denied our sex in gym tunics and bloomers, harnessed our voices to madrigal and genteel airs, yoked our minds to declensions in Latin and the language of Shakespeare, told us nothing about ourselves. There was nothing about us at all.
Much of our history and culture, ladies and gentlemen, and the struggles and triumphs of our forebears are captured in literary works. By interpreting and providing literary commentary on social events, our writers have recorded our history in a medium that will remain for posterity. Over the next 3 years, Messina will be charged with creating an avenue for public involvement in the spoken arts by stimulating the writing of poetry and improving youth appreciation for poetry.
The National Library of Jamaica, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, is pleased to declare Olive Senior Poet Laureate of Jamaica for the period 2021 to 2024. Senior is the author of 18 books, including poetry, fiction, non-fiction, and children's literature. Her work has been used to pioneer Caribbean literature in the classroom, both locally and abroad. Her poetry book, Gardening in the Tropics, has long featured on literature syllabuses in the Caribbean and has also been on the International Baccalaureate syllabus. Additionally, other works such as Summer Lightning, a long-admired collection of short stories, have been taught in schools and universities worldwide. It is with great pride and joyful expectation that we welcome our new Poet Laureate, Olive Senior, and we trust that she and poetry will both thrive and prosper. I thank you.
I would like to use my tenure as Poet Laureate to engage the nation in the reading and writing of poetry that speaks to the land, to use what is called eco-poetics, to develop a lasting awareness, especially among youth, of the need for environmental protection, care, and ownership of Jamaica's national resources. I'd like to employ the slogan, "I see my land," as a rallying call. For seeing is where it begins, the awakening of consciousness. I'm extremely grateful to the government of Jamaica, through the Ministry of Culture and the National Library of Jamaica, for giving me this opportunity to use my own experience to assist the next generation to consciously thrive and sing their new songs, songs that can proudly say, "I see my land."
Come see my land before the particles of busy fires ascend, before the rivers descend underground, before coffee plantations grind the mountains into dust, before the coral dies, before the beaches disappear. Come see my land. Come see my land and know that she was fair.
Engage with the Poet Laureate through the various events being hosted by the National Library of Jamaica.
We've come to the end of our program. Get a recap of all you saw here and more on our YouTube channel. Also, feel free to visit our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for news you can use. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.